Hold on, boys and girls. I had to smoke a little joint before we go into this adventures in idiocracy. I'm telling you, boys and girls, it's getting crazy out here. But today on Adventures in Idiocracy, I got this guy here. Hold on. Listen to this.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Lock the door. Lock the door. Take away the key. Take away my liberty. Little kids wearing masks. Food lines for hours. You can't pay the rent.
Representatives. And it just so happened that because the House went into debate over H.R. 8, H.R. 8 is the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2019. Remember that 90% of the country supports universal background checks on any gun transaction, period. But most Republicans in the House don't support it. And
Y'all hear that? 90% of the country supports background checks. How many of you people understand that 90% of the people leaves only 10% of the people who don't? Yet all the Republicans in Congress don't want to vote for background checks. We already got background checks. Do you agree with background checks?
support it. And because people around the world, after the vote on COVID relief, were still watching the House proceedings, I started getting email from viewers. I got an email from a viewer in Belgium saying, David, did you see that insanity that Lauren Boebert said about guns on the floor of the House? A viewer in the UK wrote to me and said, David, did you see Congressman Madison Cawthorn saying, come take my guns on the floor of the House? So I checked it out, and it is truly the stuff of horrors. The world cannot believe how ridiculous a large portion of our country and our elected officials are on the topic of guns. Let's
Whoa. David, you just said 90% of the country agrees with background checks, and now you're saying a great big segment of them don't agree with it. Which way you got it? You can't have it both ways there, boy. Now this here Fruitloop, I don't know where he lives, probably in California. I think he's got his panties in the wad. He's got his panties in the wad, upset because people want to keep their guns. He even says it's un-American, y'all.
guns. Let's look at some examples. Here is completely vapid Trumpian Republican Congressman Madison Cawthorn.
Oh, great day, you're a Trumpian. You are Trumpian if you believe that you can have a gun. If you have a gun, you are a Trump supporter. I got guns. I got several guns. None of them are registered or anything like that. I'm not registering jack shit with the government. But I'm not a Republican either. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter. I'm not a county council supporter. I'm not a government supporter at all. Government is nothing but force against the people. It is the management tool of human farming. But this Fruitloop says, oh, great day, we got to sign everybody up, y'all.
Telling the speaker, I know you want my guns. Well, try to take them from me.
You want my guns. I know it. We all know it. Well, Mr. Speaker, you can come and take them. With that, I yield back.
You know, this guy, this Republican comes up and he's got a mask on and all, and he's obeying the little house rules and all, and he comes up, oh, no, you come and take my guns, you come and take my guns. When he's submitting already, he's got a damn face diaper on. All of them got face diapers on. And they'll justify it, well, that's the house rules, and if I can't come in there and the sergeant at arms and blah, 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 blah. But they're submitting. They're submitting too. It's all a great big show. It's the biggest show on the planet.
I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New York.
This is one of the foremost legislative bodies in the United States. And
Oh, this is one of the foremost legislative bodies in the United States. Well, it's the legislative, one of the two, and then the president, the dictator and puppet master, they're all puppets. This is for show anyway. They debate this stuff all the time. They'll probably pass this stuff, and people will obey just like they obey the mask laws and all this kind of stuff, because they believe in government, the sanctity of government. And this guy, he just scared of every damn thing he's got his panties in a wad. Damn Fruitloop.
And Madison Cawthorn is yelling at the speaker to come take my guns. The world is laughing, crying, horrified. You pick it.
Well, the world is crying. World is crying because the guy said, don't come and take my guns. That's un-American, y'all. The government needs to be the only ones with the guns, and I swear to God, they'll protect you. That's what he's trying to say. Little socialist Fruit Loop, California nut job.
Lauren Boebert went to the microphone and argued against universal background checks based on a story of a man beaten to death outside her restaurant in Colorado. But the story is a lie. The man she's referring to actually died of a drug overdose. Not only is this insane, it's also a lie. Take a look at this.
There was an altercation outside of my restaurant where a man was physically beat to death. There were no weapons involved. He was beat to death by another man's hands. I have a lot of young girls who work in my restaurant, and we needed an equalizer.
The story is known to be a lie. So it's a fake story.
Okay. Is that story true or not? I don't know. I'm not even going to bother to check on the story. Because even if the story is not absolutely true, the analogy works. If these girls in the restaurant know that there guys getting beaten up and robbed and all kinds of stuff outside, do you think that if they call the popo, the popo's going to send one popo for each girl so they can walk home and they'll be safe and all that? Or would it be better? Or maybe they'll tell them, look, if you see somebody falling, call 911 and we'll be there in 20 minutes. Or would it be better for the girl to have some kind of form of protection, like a mace or a taser or, God forbid, a gun? Would that make sense? Or would this little Fruit Loop rather run and call 911 and say time out, I call 911, get away from me until the police come? Don't you know?
Then Republican Congressman Chip Roy came to the microphone and started referring to how he has all these weapons, but he's not going to tell the government what weapons he has. Defiant and principled speech. Take a look.
Texans, Americans, the government is never going to know what weapons I own. Let me be clear about that. It's not going to happen.
People all over the world see that and they ask rightly, what the hell is wrong with the United States of America? Well, these people are what's wrong.
You're right, David. What the hell is wrong with America? Why in the hell are we even debating this? Why in the hell are we debating about who can have a gun and who can't have a gun and background checks and all this kind of stuff, when supposedly in this thing called the Constitution, there's a Second Amendment that says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, it's been infringed by the NRA, who capitulated in 1938, and the distinction between military and civilian weapons and all that. And it's been incrementally stepped on and stepped on. And as David says, we already have some we got background checks now. What's wrong with universal background checks? I mean, we already got some. What are they arguing for? Well, the Republicans, they've been the capitulators of choice anyway. So the Republicans that are in Congress, I'm not going to tell you how many guns I got and all kinds of stuff like that. They're full of shit anyway. So it's a debate that doesn't really matter at this point, because whether or not the government passes a law that you have to sign up for this or that, or you got to report how many pieces of toilet paper you use every day, or whether or not you got a shot, or whether or not you got a water pistol or a damn gun. It doesn't matter that, because they're unlawful. They're a bunch of damn criminals and hoodlums run by a bunch of Fruit Loops like this kid.
Then Republican Congressman Thomas Massie also argued against universal background checks on the basis of a hard-to-follow hypothetical story about the victim of domestic violence who needs a gun to make it through the night. I challenge you. Follow this hypothetical story.
Oh, he's challenging you now. That means, I guess that means y'all pay attention here. This is crazy what this man talks about. Ooh, be afraid, y'all. Be afraid.
How many of those 112,000 were prosecuted for that crime of trying to acquire that gun? According to the DOJ, 12. 1, 2. 12 in a year. Who were the other 100,000? Just imagine now that you're the victim of an abusive relationship, and after 5 years you've summoned the courage and the resources to separate from that relationship. But things have escalated, and now you've decided it's time to acquire the means to protect you and your children. So you go to the gun store and you try to buy a gun. The clerk presses the computer button. It says denied. You ask the clerk, why was it denied? I don't know, this happens sometimes. Maybe you had a similar name to somebody else in the database. You can't buy a gun today, tomorrow, next week, not ever. You've been denied. So you go to a friend you've known for a long time. Your friend says, I'd like to help you. You say, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the night. The friend says, I'd like to help you, but don't you know H.R. 8 passed, and it was signed by the president. I can't spend a year in a cage. Good luck tonight.
Now, what's extra dumb about that story, actually, there's a bunch of stuff that's extra dumb about that story. First of all, maybe the person he's describing should call the police if they think they might not make it through the night, unless they have.
Oh, he said call the police, y'all. All right, so she's scared for her life. No, something's going to get ready to happen and all. We see these things all the time. You see them all over the nation here and there. So he's saying, call the popo, and the popo is going to come and keep you safe. You think that they're going to line up? You think that they're going to leave a police car right outside anybody's house that calls and says, I'm afraid of my ex-husband. I think he's going to come and get me. You actually believe that they're going to protect you when the Supreme Court says they don't have any responsibility to protect you anyway? And then if they're protecting you, how are they doing that? They're just sitting in a car out there playing with their smartphone and talking to the girlfriend, or on Facebook or Twitter. In the meantime, you're dead inside the house. Or if you call the police and the guy's right there, they're 25 minutes away. They might be at Dunkin' Donuts getting a coffee and finishing their donuts. How fast you think they're coming? But this guy's a brilliant Fruit Loop.
Unless they have the imaginary gun in the hypothetical shootout. But the problem that Congressman Massie brings up, someone might be wrongly denied a gun because their name matches that of someone who actually can't own a gun. whether background checks are universal or not, we already have some background checks. Like the name confusion could happen regardless of whether the background checks are universal or not. It's a very strange example to argue we shouldn't. That's an argument for no background checks at all. We already have.
Exactly. Well, he finally got something right. Thomas Massey was arguing for no background checks at all. He just realized that. Now, he thinks Thomas Massey is crazy. He thinks the government's the only one that should have guns. And if that was so, no criminal would have a gun because it was illegal. You know, criminals don't do anything illegal. It's just law-abiding people that do things illegal and become criminals. The criminals are already criminals and they abide by the gun laws and all, don't you know? Where in the hell is this boy from? He must be from Planet X, the Fruitloop planet.
We already have some background checks, not really an argument against making them universal. So absolutely incredible. And the world doesn't get it. The world doesn't. Why is it so embarrassing here in the United States? These are deep cultural, educational, religious, in some cases, issues. They are economic issues as well. In fact, that shouldn't be written off. There is an economic component.
All right, so right now, see, he's saying all you gun lovers, well, the problem is your religion and your culture. You know, you got to be accepting of all kinds of genders, and you know, I don't know, what is there, 36 genders now, and you got to be, you got to get rid of that religion thing, and you got to get rid of your culture, and you don't need any of those things because that's the problem. That's the problem. You need to think of this socialist utopia and this collective. It's for the greater good that you don't own a damn gun, and the state's going to keep you safe. It's lovely. And this guy, who knows how much money this fella's got? Look at that. Look at the nice setup he's got, and all kinds of. Somebody's backing his ass.
To what we are seeing here, but we have some of the most radical people we've ever had in the House of Representatives, and they really have some serious problems, personal problems, no doubt.
We got some of the most radical people's ever been in that damn house. Don't y'all know? Even the people way back yonder, you know, right when the Constitution was, you know, right after that revolution or something. Them people wasn't even as radical as these here people. They'd give up their guns. They signed up and had registration and everything. Huh? I'm telling you, boys, the idiocracy has gone crazy in this country. And Fruitloops like this David Pac-Man, when these people are running the world, is this what millennial people believe? Is this what they believe? That socialism is the most wonderful thing in the world and the government is a divine authority of all wonderful things?
House of Representatives, and they really have some serious problems, personal problems, no doubt. But also, these are just the last people that we should have making law. So another humiliating day globally.
So the last people we need making laws are people that consider gun rights fundamental. Those are the wrong people to have in charge, y'all. You need people that think nobody should be armed, everybody should obey government, and leaders from the top. Of course, what kind of leaders he want? He wants his kind of leaders, Fruit Loops and idiots.
But also, these are just the last people that we should have making law. So another humiliating day globally for the United States, brought to you this time by the likes of Lauren Boebert and Madison Cawthorn and some of these other people. Let me know what you think when you see these rants on the floor of the House. And then remember, Friday, March 26th, one day huge membership special. We had a tough February from the standpoint of memberships. We are trying to recover. I'm getting so wound up, I just punched my mic. We are trying to recover.
Okay, so at the end of all this, Mr. Pac-Man does a pitch for all his subscribers and all members, and he says, "Oh, we've had a tough time in February, y'all, but you guys can make it up. We got a special offer for you people. Support me so I can propagandize you more with my Fruitloop psychology." It's breaking down America where you're going to be a socialist utopia, where you own nothing and you'll be happy, as his mentor Klaus Schwab is so famous for saying, the Great Reset. He's just like the Joe Bidens and the Trump R's and all that. He's just trying to promote the collective. He'll do anything the collective pays him to do. The Adventures in Idiocracy, you can pick and choose from thousands and thousands of idiocracies all around you. The whole world is in a state of idiocracy. David Pac-Man is just another in a long train of idiots. Jeff Maddox, until next time. Search for the truth, do your own research.
We are trying to recover. And so Friday, March 26th, we will be doing a mass mailing to everybody on our newsletter. You can sign up.
Lock the door. Take away the key. Take away my liberty. Little kids wearing masks. Food lines for hours, hours. You can't pay the rent.
As an extra added bonus, I'm going to play this little clip at the end, and I want you to notice what he's promoting. He's promoting a virtual private network, VPN service. And what's funny is he talks about it protects you from government surveillance, but he wants them to know if you got a gun or not. You got to think about that one. Bye, y'all.
Right after this. One of our sponsors, PureVPN, is giving you 47% off a 1-year plan, which comes out to less than $6 a month. PureVPN makes you anonymous online, and you can trust them. They're the only VPN with an always-on third-party audit, verifying that your internet activity is not being logged. PureVPN keeps you safe from hackers, prevents you from being spied on by your ISP, social media companies, government surveillance. It lets you stream shows and movies that aren't available in your country.
Got you where we want you. You'll never know the